Morning folks, and welcome to Corvette Talk with Scags. Today I wanted to do a magazine review, a magazine that I've held onto for 30 years. Back in 1990, Corvette engineers had finally come up with a way to balance performance, emissions, and fuel economy, something that they had struggled to do for almost 2 decades. And in 1990, the Chevrolet Motor Company introduced the ZR1, and it was huge news back in 1990. For a magazine, a car magazine, to dedicate a whole entire issue to a specific model was pretty important, and that was pretty significant. And the ZR1 was a honey for the motoring press, so much so that it got its own, Corvette got its own little edition here. On the cover, I guess the ZR1 at the time was known as the King of the Hill, and I guess they were calling the Callaway Kong. So it was King versus Kong. The article was the Callaway versus the ZR1. So let's jump into this magazine review. There's a lot of fun stuff in here, very interesting stuff if you're a Corvette aficionado, which I hope you are. It starts off with a bang right at the beginning. Is a very interesting advertisement for the ZR1. We'd love to show you the new ZR1, but you know how it goes, and the ZR1 is speeding by here. A little description of the ZR1. Really awesome stuff. I think I'm going to do a video about Corvette advertising, because once upon a time it was really creative and interesting. So let's get right to the comparison here. King versus Kong. It's so interesting that 30 years ago I decided to hold on to this magazine, and here we are making it significant. So Callaway versus the ZR1. The Callaway had 390 horsepower and 562 foot-pounds of torque. That is a lot of torque, folks. That's like a Ford F350 with dual rear axles and all the other crap that it comes with. The ZR1 had 380 horsepower and 370 foot-pounds of torque. Check out the prices, folks. This is 30 years ago, when you wonder why the mid-engine Corvette today is such a great deal. The Callaway was $66,424, and the ZR1 was $59,275. So very expensive back then. It makes today's Corvette seem like a real bargain. The editor's choice at the end of the magazine was the Callaway with an automatic transmission. My choice was the Callaway as well. But the article is very interesting. I'll try to breeze through it just to show you guys some pictures from a 30-year-old magazine. I'm going to have to go fast because there is a lot to cover. And maybe you guys could access this magazine online, or maybe get a back edition for it, because it's very interesting. I would have to put this, if I was making a Scags Ultimate Corvette library, this would certainly have to be one of them. Here's the comparisons. Like I said, over here, we'll put this over here. Okay, so that's that. Very interesting. Here's, it's almost like I got half my editions for Corvette Talk with Scags right out of this magazine. So here is Serve 3. Okay, there was a red one and a blue one. They're both slightly different. The body, remember folks, this is 30 years ago. The body was made of carbon fiber, Kevlar, and Nomex. Okay, it had a lift-off body. The whole body came off for ease of maintenance. It had 2 fuel cells. It had active suspension, 4-wheel steering, and 4-wheel drive. The chassis only weighed 38 pounds, folks, and this car was capable of 225 miles an hour. Carbon fiber brakes, 650 horsepower, 655 foot-pounds of torque. Why didn't they make this thing? Unbelievable. And look how beautiful it is. Gorgeous. So here was the predecessors. Here's Serve 1, here's Serve 2. This was considered Serve 3. Awesome stuff. Beautiful. Keep turning here. There's the inside of Serve 3. There's the motor for Serve 3. Totally cool, huh? It's also interesting to note that most of the advertisements in the edition of the 30-year-old Road and Track were for Corvette-related products as well. So you can see the red one is a little different in the back than the blue one. They're slightly different. You have to really take notice. Probably can't see in the video, but yes, they are slightly different. Okay, moving on from there. Record breakers. Okay, here's a ZR1 and a regular L98 Corvette from 1990. They were record breakers. The L98 won 5 FIA and 10 class victories, 6 hours at 171 miles an hour. Can you imagine? It's just a regular Corvette done up a little for racing. The LT5 had 10 class wins, 3 world wins, 4 FIA wins, 5,000 miles, folks, at 174 miles per hour. 15 records in all. So if you were ever thinking that if Chevrolet tested these things to the max, here is a perfect example of how Chevrolet and General Motors really tested these cars before they released them to the public. Another Corvette specific advertisement there for Riken wheels. So there's some of the technology that went into those 1990 Vettes. Could you imagine 6 hours?